Taken by Lazaridis. And Popovic! Back post, he's a scorer now. O'Keefe has got the better of Ferdinand. He's in for number 2 here for the Socceroos. Harry Kewell. Not quite got the pace to take him on, but Everton's there. That should wrap it up for Australia. Bresciano, last kick of the game. Not a great night for Sven Goran-Eriksson, but a wonderful one for Frank Farina in Australia. 2 games in 1, if you like. Unusual circumstances. I'm sure you now know all about them. I'm told that this is a one-off experiment. England fielding a first-choice side for the first half and a different team of young talent for the second. It's unusual for Australia too, because this is their first game with their overseas players for 15 months since they were pipped in the playoffs by Uruguay in a vain quest for World Cup qualification. And it's a first full international at West Ham's home, Upton Park, a club that have done plenty for the England cause down the years. One of the stands here is, of course, named after the late and great Bobby Moore. Well, this is how England started Upton Park. 1 current West Ham player in David James, 2 who learnt their trade here in Rio Ferdinand and Frank Lampard. Lampard passed a fitness check yesterday, as did Paul Scholes and Ashley Cole. Kieran Dyer in front of Cole on the left. 16 Premiership goals have put James Beattie in the England frame for the first time, and one of them was a match winner here for Southampton in December. Harry Kewell does play despite missing Leeds' last 2 games, along with his club colleagues Mark Viduka and Paul Ocon, the captain. A strong British base elsewhere in the team. Middlesbrough's Mark Schwarzer in goal. Blackburn and Birmingham provide the fullbacks in Lucas Neal and Stan Lazaridis. Craig Moore of Rangers and Crystal Palace's Tony Popovic in the centre of defence. Big welcome also to our viewers in Australia. So it is the round ball. It is the national game in England, and it is now a traditional rivalry in many sports, if not in this one, between these 2 countries. And having spent some time with the Socceroos over the last couple of days, there'll be no pussyfooting around for them. They certainly will want to give a good account of themselves, and they've just been wondering really whether this strange set of circumstances in the England camp, with so many changes to be made later in the night, might just suit them. Skoko's header and a touch from Kewell. Sol Campbell resuming his partnership with Rio Ferdinand. It's just under 4 months since the disappointing home draw with Macedonia. It's the longest England have been without a game for more than 20 years. So the first half for the first choice team is very important. The only action before the double-header end of March, beginning of April against Liechtenstein away, and a crunch match at home to Turkey.
It's notable straight away, Martin, that Kieran Dyer isn't sticking out on that left-hand side. He's coming inside, almost playing in the hole at times.
Harry Kewell has been criticised in Australia in the past for putting club before country, but not this time. He's missed Leeds' last 2 games with a hamstring problem. Beckham. Gary Neville moving up on the outside. This is Owen. Beattie in the middle. Just came a little quickly to Gary Neville. He's just explaining that to Michael Owen. Neal. It's a 3rd cap for Australia, and his first for a good while. Kewell really goes for most of this team, because although there were a few internationals with locally based players in 2002, that in 15 months since Australia last played with their full complement. Skoko. Owen takes it away from Kuhl. And is making good progress. The officials come from Spain. Manuel Majuto Gonzalez is the referee.
Right. Started well enough. Good tempo to the game. They're getting behind England.
Well, David Beckham's having a look from this range.
Surely not.
Why not? Must have been a trouble Schwarzer, I don't think. Never got quite that far. Off the chest of Kuhl. Lazaridis, who used to play here, of course, for West Ham. And certainly has got the capacity to take David Beckham in the opposite direction. Beckham didn't go with him. And the ball broke his way, and he was rather watching the passage of play from nearer the halfway line.
That's maybe what Stan Lazaridis will be trying to do tonight, push David Beckham back and not being forced to ask too many defensive questions or answer too many defensive questions.
Ahead of Lazaridis, the number 16, Scott Chipperfield, who plays for Basel, have been in the Champions League. Well, Terry Venables, of course, a foot in both camps, really, coach of both these nations. Emerton. And we've got three forward here. Australia. Campbell came back. James had to prevent the corner. Just caught Chipperfield by surprise.
Well, he had to get that one right. So Campbell, well-timed tackle.
Emerton. That wasn't a well-timed tackle by Scholes. And he's the player most used by Sven Goran-Eriksson, 22 of 24 internationals since the Swede took over. Here comes Popovic and Craig Moore. Both the Socceroos scorers in the past, the two centre-backs. Taken by Lazaridis. And Popovic! Back post, he's a scorer now. And it is England 0, Australia 1.
It was a beautiful ball in from Stan Lazaridis. One of those situations where, should the keeper come, does he stay? Gary Neville perhaps won't be the happiest defender in that back line, allowing Popovic just to get ahead of him. He lost his man for a split second. In the end, the header beyond David James. Real blow for England.
Well, for Frank Farina and his players, it's the sort of start they've been dreaming of, the sort of start that must stimulate England into being really fully attuned to a contest rather than maybe a friendly international. And if you're watching as a neutral, it's probably the very best thing that could have happened this evening.
Well, we were speaking about this beforehand, weren't we? And if Australia were to go a goal up, 2 goals up, what would Sven do at half-time then? And in terms of the overall match...
Well, one of the things about not having time with your players is you don't work on defending at set pieces.
Well, it's a standard set piece. It was a good cross in. In the end, Gary Neville did just lose his marker, but I do feel David James perhaps should have come for it. It came a long way.
Well, the Matildas are waltzing at West Ham. Australia have a corner. They have a goal. Tony Popovic, 29 years old, defender from Crystal Palace, did play in Japan before that. What a time he's having in the FA Cup, and now here amidst an historic international for his country. And they do it in the air again. That's Kuhl. Made some good movement towards the near post. The ball rather died on him, and he was absolutely happy with the pace on it.
Well, they do look very lively from these set pieces, Australia. Pre-rehearsed moves they've obviously got.
And this is against the so-called first-choice England side. Beckham. Chipperfield biting in, but he's been penalised. Playing in the Champions League against Manchester United. But missed the Liverpool games through injury. Goes Campbell, is come close with his header. Hasn't done as well as his opposite number tonight. In from Beckham. It was Neil who got a good touch. Ferdinand had to play the winger on the left. Now having to scurry back into the centre of England's defence. Ashley Cole. For Sky Digital viewers in the UK, player cam following Frank Lampard now. He's played so well for Chelsea this season. And his England recall, no doubt about that, and the consistency of his club performances. Emerton, it's a fine cross too. Beckham. What sort of reply will we see from England here? Well, Beckham for Dyer, who's got so much pace about him, so much ambition about his play as well. Owen's cross. It's in. No. It's not going to stand.
Well, I think he's given offside, but it was Kieran Dyer that made it. Cutting in from the left, and lovely understanding with Michael Owen. A beautiful cross in. He's not offside at this point. It's James Beattie that was denied there. Good play by Popovic, and Scholes and Lampard, I think, isn't it?
Paul Scholes, who thought he'd scored his first England goal in 17 internationals. And my goodness me, England needed that to stand, but the flag went up. The Socceroos still have their lead. Scholes. Now Beattie. Moving left is Owen, but he leaves it to Dyer. England have got players streaming forward in support of Kieran Dyer, but he's just overdone it and overrun it.
Well, it's a good game now. Certainly brought England out. Australians, whoever they are, they do look a very fit side, working very hard for each other.
A contentious moment here.
I think it's when Paul Scholes puts the ball in the net, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's not been touched by Beattie, has it? So when the cross came in, Scholes looked good.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Frank Lampard the assistant had his eyes on, but wasn't really interfering.
Halfway through the first half, it's got a real zip and a rip about it. Beattie taking up the position for a long throw, but it goes short to Beckham. And the pass was too short for Gary Neville. Whipped away by Lazaridis. 4 years he had at West Ham. return. Scholes. Lampard nudging it wide. England well represented in the middle, but that's just veered away from those in the red shirts.
It's a shame. James Beattie just pulled away to the far post.
Emerton. He's given it away to Beckham of all people. Owen's got to check, otherwise he'd be offside. Beattie's okay, I think, in the middle. And now a mistake here, and Owen from a nigh on impossible angle.
Well, quite Mark Schwarzer didn't find touch here. I do not know, with Michael Owen bearing down. He's trying a little bit too clever, trying to keep possession. Difficult chance there with his right foot.
He's not been the most comfortable goalkeeper with the change in the law a few years ago and the back passes. He got away with that. Catastrophe that would have been after a good bit of covering back by Lucas Neal. Emerton had given the ball away, certainly unnecessarily. When in doubt, just thrash it out.
Yeah,
with a message to Schwarzer. Here's Ashley Cole, who scored on this ground for Arsenal. So this season, given away a penalty. Scholes. Gary Neville, in common with most of his Manchester United colleagues in this England setup, has an unbeaten record at Upton Park. Good port of call. He went from Old Trafford in the Premiership for several seasons now. Popovic. Touch from Chipperfield. Huel. Mr. Skoko. Hamilton determined to be a bit safer with his distribution this time. He's a top player on the European circuit with Feyenoord. Saying yesterday his ambition is to play for a Premiership club. Huel. Too high for Mark Viduka.
Harry Kewell is causing plenty of problems with his movement. Coming in from that left-hand side and right-hand side. Nothing wrong with his hamstring. Doesn't seem to be, certainly looks in the mood tonight.
I think what has sharpened the minds of all the Australian players, this change by FIFA for the Oceania group winners in future World Cups, a direct passage into the finals. And so frustrated in the playoffs for many a World Cup now. Beckham. Scholes. In the end, he's put it wide.
That's unlucky. David Beckham saw his club mate just pull off. Just a couple of yards of space. Did well to fashion the space, but get that normally reliable shot on target.
On the right of the pitch there, Graham Arnold. International player of the past, is Frank Farina's assistant at the moment. And played the last time the two countries met in 1991. Owen. Pushed by Ferdinand on Viduka. Worrying about that Mark Schwarzer mistake. Paul Barron wearing an Australian tracksuit, who is the Middlesbrough goalkeeping coach. He's joined in with the Socceroos to help out on that trip to England, so he can work with the man he works with week in, week out in Premiership football. Lampard. He's caught out, and Kuhl is going for the jugular then. In the end, he has to play it wide to Chipperfield. A touch here from Mark Viduka, trying to loop it over James and under the bar. And my goodness, England could have been 2-0 down.
Well, it was a really instinctive header, this one from Mark Viduka. Chipperfield puts it in, sees it late. I think he was trying to chip David James, but James really moved his feet well. Backpedaling, he's a big lad. Another warning sign for England.
It's another Skoko corner with the accompanying signal. It's Craig Moore up. And Paul Ocon to keep the momentum going. But you know, just before those playoffs against Uruguay, November 2001, Australia played France in Australia, and Roger Lemaire was the coach then. He said at half-time he was going to make a lot of changes. At half-time it was Australia 1, France 0, and there were no changes.
We shall see.
Beckham and Lazaridis left his foot in. Gets a yellow card. Beckham didn't make a meal of it and is trying to play Mr. Nice Guy again, and he is a nice guy.
Worked very hard this first half hour, Lazaridis. Plenty of effect going forward, but also done his bit. Back to snuff out Beckham on that right-hand side.
Kuhl just floats deeper than Viduka. They've still got 4 in midfield around him, Harry Kuhl, so he's got all the licence he needs to roam. Ashley Cole brings down Emerton, a likely second-half team, heading for a warm-up area maybe. Scholes. Mistake there by Neil. Beckham. Oh, whatever the value of the scoreline, it's a very good workout for England. Beattie. They've certainly had to play at full competitive pace despite the so-called friendly nature of the fixture.
Yeah, I don't think the fans here can complain about that. Just looking over to the far side at Kieran Dyer, at times it looks as if he's not too comfortable.
Tony Popovic will be involved. Crystal Palace against Leeds. That's on Sky Sports 2 here in the UK on Sunday, followed by Stoke against Chelsea, also from the 5th round of the FA Cup.
So I was just going to say,
Kuhl has got the better of Ferdinand. He's in for number 2 here for the Socceroos. Harry Kuhl. It gets better and better for Australia, and he's been threatening that throughout the half. He's embarrassed a former clubmate in Rio Ferdinand, and Sven Goran-Eriksson has got some hard thinking to do. What does he do with his team now at half-time? It's approaching fast, and England are 2 goals down.
Oh, just what England didn't want with 5 minutes to go. I think Lampard lost it, but didn't they break well, Australia? Rio Ferdinand thought he got fouled there. Look at Harry Kuhl. That's epitomised his first half performance. Very cool, controlled, so effective for Australia.
Well, Kewell and his gang have really hit the right notes for Australia in this first half.
I think what happened to Rio Ferdinand there, Martin, Kewell stepped on his boot and just pinched the heel of his boot off and caused him to fall over. Didn't look a blatant shove to me.
Scholes. It's Owen. It's another sight of goal that doesn't produce a goal for Michael Owen.
Well, nothing wrong with a run, but that's a man totally off his game. Confidence is low.
Talk about advance Australia fair.
Well, they had that bit of luck, I think, when England's goal was ruled offside. It was a marginal decision, but they've really made use of that, exploited it.
Scholes to Beckham. Side netting. Well, it's been terrific entertainment.
Well, chances either end, haven't we? It's been non-stop. Lovely ball by Paul Scholes. Very tight angle for Beckham. It's going to lock. Well, this is Harry Kewell just chasing down Ferdinand. And there was a bit of contact, but didn't he finish it well?
And here's Lampard. We're dealing in seconds now before half-time. Campbell had a header blocked at 0-0. Beckham takes. Well, first of all, well played Australia. And some boos going around Upton Park for the England first half performance. Popovic got the first, Kewell the second. And we wait, and we'll bring you as soon as we know the news of what England changes there will be. Certainly plenty of hard thinking to be done, and done quickly. Plenty of hard celebrating for the first half. For this half of the evening, it's a 2-0 win for Australia. But we are technically still halfway through the match.
At half-time, England trailed 2-0. That's one game done. What can the young boys do? 17 years old, 111 days, and Wayne Rooney becomes the youngest player ever to represent England at senior level. Good luck, son. Alan Smith and Martin Tyler.
I'd echo that, Richard. Over 130 years of England matches, almost 800 games, 1,113 previous players, and now it's Wayne Rooney, who's already set marks for young talent in club football. He goes into the England record books. Marco Bresciano is on for the injured Skoko, the only change for the Socceroos, who've seen off the first choice England side. Frank Farina, the Australian head coach, was saying yesterday, well, if we do lose, we've got a ready-made excuse. It will take England 22 players to beat us. There might be more than that to come. So a completely new England team in the second half. New caps as well as for Rooney, for Paul Robinson, the Leeds goalkeeper, Jermaine Jenas of Newcastle, who's only 19, Paul Konchesky of Charlton, Francis Jeffers of Arsenal, who's got a great goal-scoring record at under-21 level. Here is Konchesky, who hasn't played many games as an orthodox left-back in a back four for his club Charlton. And that's where he wins his first cap. He is left-footed.
Well, what a situation to make your debut. You look at the new lads. It's hard enough at any time to play for England for the first time, but you come in 2-0 down, playing with a very inexperienced England side. Won't be easy, but they've got nothing to lose now.
Sven Goran-Eriksson has echoed the thoughts of some of us that the senior players have gotten them into the mess. Can the kids now get England out of it? There will be more hardship to come for England on home soil, because Harry Kewell is spearheading a Very successful evening so far here in England for Australia. Their first visit for a full international in this country. Rooney. And it's Darius Vassell. Schwarzer keeps it out by his near post, but Rooney makes an impact straight away.
Yeah, he's had a look up here, Wayne Rooney, and certainly picked Darius Vassell out. It was an extra space on the far side. Just Vassell's touch made it so much more difficult for him. Took him wide in the end. In the end, the angle too much. Good start for England.
Pulled away from Wes Brown. And the senior men on for the second half. Danny Murphy, certainly in terms of age, he's 25, as is Danny Mills, who is the England's second half skipper, and of course was England's regular right back, played every minute of the World Cup. And yet another Leeds connection tonight, and of course Paul Robinson, the England goal, adds to that as well. On the fringe for a little while. Of course, his problem was displacing another England goalkeeper, Nigel Martin, at his club. He's been able to do that this season, strangely, given the nature of the opposition tonight, because Martin seemed unwilling pre-season to go to Australia on a Leeds tour. Robinson went. He's kept the place ever since. Lazaridis charged down by Vassell. Kuhl is certainly in the mood.
Well, normally, in normal circumstances, at half-time, the manager would just try and negate the threat that Kuhl has given in that first half, but you bring in a fresh set of players, and it's a little bit more difficult to sort out who should be doing what as regards marking Kuhl. He's drifting so freely that it's difficult.
He's a thorn in England's side again here. And it's a corner for Australia. Cristiano plays in Serie A for Parma. He was just trying to whip it into a danger area. 22 years old yesterday, Marco Bresciano. And he won't be 20 until February the 18th. Same day that Sir Bobby Robson becomes 70. He celebrated with a packet of biscuits when it was 19 and 69 last year. Here's Popovic, scored the opening goal. Kuhl got the second. Emerton using his body strength against Konchesky cleverly. Neil. Is great with his back to a defender as Mark Viduka. Emerton. Neil moving infield. And he's found himself too far forward. The Youth Cup final back in May at Goodison, David Moyes, the Everton manager, whispered that he was sure Rooney would play for England by the time he was 18. Well, he's ahead even of that seemingly outrageous prediction.
What odds he would have got for that?
It was a decent tip, though, from David Moyes, I must say. Here's Hargreaves. Goes to the corner, off Craig Moore.
Well, the Upton Park crowd really on the supporting these youngsters now.
Jennings reacting responsibly for a short corner from Hargreaves. King. There's a counter-attack on here for Australia. The throw out just dragged under the studs of Bresciano. Neil. Emerton. Ocon. ball by the Socceroos until it's knocked long and cut out by Konchesky. Cell coming across to the left. Goes forward this time is Jeffers, which once and then twice. Knocked on by Chipperfield. It's got Wes Brown turned then. Done the hard part, he's given the ball away, the Manchester United man. Broke on. England have played 10 so-called friendlies under Sven Goran-Eriksson and have won only 3. 8 victories in 13 competitive games and only 1 defeat, and that was that World Cup quarter-final against Brazil. Suggests that he has been getting it right when it matters most.
Well, if England do lose this game, I think it's just a question of morale, isn't it, going into the Liechtenstein one? The worst result possible in this warm-up.
The match practice for Turkey at home, which is a big game in the group, is going to come away to Liechtenstein a few days earlier, isn't it? I mean, nothing from now until then. Rooney trying his luck again.
Well, I really thought that deflection.
I must say I did too.
Yeah.
Well, there are others still waiting in the wings for England. Richard Wright at the front, Scott Parker to the left, Matty Upson, Sean Davis, and Joe Cole of West Ham United, who seems surplus to requirements tonight. There's possible, of course, from Sven Goran-Eriksson's point of view that he knows what he can do. And here's Jermaine Jenas. Jeffers going near post! Super goal from the young Lions. And Francis Jeffers translates outstanding under-21 form into the senior side. 2 debutants in perfect harmony. England 1, Australia 2.
Well, it was a marvellous goal. It was a centre-forward's goal. Got to give plenty of credit to Jermaine Jenas, who's played so well this half. He looks up. That's a great centre-forward's run from Fanny Jeffers. Beats his man at the near post, times it well. And doesn't he time that header well? Short to no chance. Beautifully directed header from Jeffers, and that gives England a chance now.
Could it possibly happen, Alan?
Well, of course it could. Of course it
I'm
could.
talking about the complete turnaround. They've given themselves a chance. The second half side, but Mark Viduka against his clubmate Paul Robinson, looking a little bit at the referee as well as to whether he was maybe being impeded.
That was a chance, wasn't it? Just got the wrong side of Wes Brown.
Lazaridis. Well, Frank Farina's got to now assess the stamina levels of his players. Just the one change for Australia so far, against a complete wholesale reshuffle at half-time by Sven Goran-Eriksson. Neil. And Lewisi. He doesn't want to get a touch because it will be England's throw. It is. Tony Vidmar, who did play the last time the two countries met, going on for 12 years ago now. He's with Middlesbrough, of course. He just had a rethink about who he's going to replace. And it's Popovic, somewhat either reluctantly or maybe gingerly making his way off. Trevor Francis, his club manager, will be hoping there's not an injury involved there.
Yeah, just feeling his groin, isn't he, Popovic?
Could look like that. Hargreaves. Well, it's no more than this England's second half side deserve to make an imprint on the scoreline. Something their seniors couldn't manage. Ocon, another interception from him. Rooney, Vassell. Here's Emerton. Aloisi for Brett Emerton again. John Aloisi again. It's too far ahead of Chipperfield, of whom we've seen very little in the second half.
Well,
he has just come back. Sorry, Alan, just put it into context for Chipperfield. He's had an injury. It's kept him out for 3 months, and he's had just a few friendlies. They're still on the winter break in Basel in Switzerland. Viduka. Australia win, of course, in those 5 previous meetings in Australia against England. 3 England victories and a couple of draws. Murphy. Konchesky. Jenas. Hargreaves. Marciano. Sorted out by Les Brown. Vassell. Rooney. Towards Vassell again. And now Craig Moore's got a problem.
Twice Vassell caught him there on the follow through, but
maybe a touch of cramp. That's the usual response, isn't it? Turn the toes up. Frank Farina would love to be known as the coach the first time Australia beat England in a full international, especially as we're in England tonight. But that lead is being significantly threatened by the freshness and the fluidity of England's second half side. Brown. Chipperfield. Viduka buying his side a bit of time. They're going to make a change. Not with this stoppage in play. Official Wolstenholme is having his board prepared, but the game is restarted on the far side.
Defending well now, England. Shown a lot of discipline. It's been made a lot easier, you have to say, by the withdrawal of Harry Kewell, but Les Brown, Ledley King taking no chances.
It is Chipperfield who's coming off. There's no great surprise in that. Vince Grello's coming on, who is based in Italy with Empoli, played against Juventus last weekend. He mixes in good company, and this is his first official cap. He did play in a couple of unofficial matches against Manchester United 3 or 4 years ago in Australia. Rooney. Doesn't give it up easily.
Always an easy system to play, the one that England have adopted, those 3 men up front a lot of the time, but they're doing well. It's easy to get in each other's way with the runs that you make. And you've certainly got the intelligence to overcome that.
What is really making it work is the amount of ground that Players like Jenis are covering in midfield.
I was looking at Jenis.
Everywhere.
You never know where he's going to pop up. Left wing where he is now. He was over on the right for the goal.
That's Hargreaves flinging it in threateningly. Goodman having to quickly attune himself to the pace of the game that he's just joined. Murphy comes off Grella. Murphy again. It was a set-up header this time by Jeffers.
Jeffers could have just taken that forward, a touch on his chest perhaps.
Talking of takes, it's brilliant control there by Bresciano. Duca with him. Ocon, who likes to keep it safe and simple. Lazaridis. Cleared by Mills. Grella. Here's Emerton. Moore. A bit of a breather here, Australia, by their ability to keep the ball. Viduka. With Ocon. Second half suggesting that the future's bright for English football with the young talent on view. What is of slightly more immediate concern is the future in the European Championship qualifiers with the senior players who weren't quite at it tonight, as the 2-0 half-time scoreline suggested.
I don't think it's going to help, is it, when you know you're only on for 45 minutes and all your teammates are as well. I think it's got to play on your mind.
Vassell, Hargreaves, and to work some space for Paul Konchesky. Almost getting it to Vassell. And Viduka let it run. There's been a possibility to break for the visiting nation then. Hargreaves. Now Viduka. Bresciano, we'll see, but across comes King.
It's well read by Ledley King. Saw the danger early.
He's got himself fit again recently, hasn't he? He was 7 months out. Minutes to go. Fair to say that what happens from here on to the final whistle, this young England team have performed with a great deal of credit, but they do have it within their powers to rescue the result for Sven Goran-Eriksson.
Well, Australia look determined to hold on to this. They defended very deep at times. A great victory for them, of course.
Brown. Mills. And it's been no softly friendly occasion, has it? It's been a properly contested football match. The unusual part about it, of course, the number of players used by England.
Got to thank Australia's attitude for that. Really came out the blocks and made a game of it. Too much of a game of it from England's point of view.
Here's Danny Murphy getting forward. Well, he got Vassell waiting all the while on the left. I'm not sure that he saw him. Konchesky. Here is Vassell. First time cross. Konchesky well forward. Rooney nearly from Murphy's pass. Liverpool and Everton very nearly in perfect tandem then. The support be impressive here in East London for these England starlets.
Well, Jermaine Jenas, one of the biggest, isn't it? Over on the right again.
Paul Scholes actually got the league sponsors Player of the Month for January, didn't he? But Jenas must have been very close. He got 4 goals in 5 matches in a spell. Those were his first 4 goals for Newcastle United. He's made one here. So a joyful January for him, a fantastic February as well.
What an attribute to have, though, for somebody so young and somebody with talent. But to have that engine inside, it's something that you can really learn or get as you go along. It's something he's been born with. Jenas, fantastic stamina.
And a wonderful football brain on top of that as well.
Of course, it's no good without the talent, and he's certainly got plenty of that.
Quick reminder, FA Cup football for you at the weekend. Sky Sports 2, Crystal Palace against Leeds. First of a double header, followed by Stoke against Chelsea. The underdog maybe tonight, maybe the underdog will have a great day on Sunday in the FA Cup. Anything's possible in that competition. Farina has another change in mind. Stojovski. Grella, Emerton. Oh, Aloisi just turned away from King. Not quite got the pace to take him on, but Emerton's there. That should wrap it up for Australia. Brett Emerton, who wants to come and play in England, scores in England. And Sven Goran-Eriksson's side, or sides if you want to call it that, collectively 3-1 down at Upton Park.
Cool blow for England just when it looked like they were getting back into it. Aloisi hadn't got the pace, but he got the foresight to play that through to Emerton. Paul Robinson's done his best to spread his body. In the end, just that unlucky nutmeg has happened so often. That really looks like it, doesn't it, for England?
Change will be made now. Viduka can be sacrificed with the 2-goal cushion restored. Stojovski plays in France for Lille, another who's been seen on the Champions League circuit. They might have had problems over the years producing a competitive international team, Australia. That's quite patently changed, as you've seen tonight, but what they have been doing for many a year now is producing good individual players. Frank Farina was one himself. Actually played 3 games for Notts County in the early 90s under the management of Neil Warnock, who, like Frank, of course, is still going strong. Well, you'll hear a few people tomorrow say that results aren't important in these friendly games, and England have not lost anything in the wider picture. You can challenge those remarks. What it is a fantastic night for the game in Australia. And encouragement, they're talking about playing more internationals now, in quotes, home internationals in England. Try and get their squad even sharper, because all of them based in Europe. And Frank Farina is seconds away from surely his greatest night as a manager. Maybe not. They've beaten France and Brazil in the Confederations Cup, but given what it means between Australia and England, it'll be right up there. And this is beating England in England. Free kick to Australia. he's earned a crack at goal here, Stan Lazaridis, hasn't it, with his performance tonight?
Well, he has. He's been superb. He's defended very well, which was I saw as his weak point, and he's also been a real threat up that left-hand side. Never stopped running. Great stamina from the Birmingham player.
Former West Ham player here at Upton Park tonight, but he's not going to take it. Bresciano, last kick of the game. Not a great night for Sven Goran-Eriksson, but a wonderful one for Frank Farina in Australia. 2 games in 1, if you like. But the record books will show that Australia's first full international against England, in England, finished with a 3-1 win.